Everyone is releasing Shaw Brothers films, except the one company you'd expect. Criterion. So why hasn't it happened yet? And what would a Criterion Shaw Brothers set look like anyway? Well, hold on to your butts, baby duck, because in this video we're going to discuss what happens if Criterion does acquire Shaw Brothers titles, how that would change the physical media landscape, and if you stay to the end like a bad mofo that you are, I'm going to pitch to you my dream Shaw Brothers box set.
Let's go!
Hail to the king, baby.
Welcome to the Speculation Party, pal. Your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos here. I hope you're well. Let's talk Shaw Brothers Studios, one of the most influential cinematic enterprises of all time. Not only inspiring the Motormouth Tarantino, the Wachowskis, John Woo, but action cinema in general, and I would say film production in general, because they were one of the first factory output type places. Studios, much like the ones that I work with nowadays, you know, in the asylum low budget space. These films aren't for everyone. They certainly haven't broken into the mainstream, for lack of a better word. I mean, obviously, the boutiques have touched them, so it's not like Shaw Brothers is underrepresented at all at this point in time. When everybody and their mother is releasing Shaw Brothers titles, some would say they are choking the marketplace. Shout Factory is certainly dipping its toes, 88 Films, Eureka, Vinegar Syndrome, unfortunately, and I only say unfortunately because I think they've gone a little overboard with that. Not to mention these big babies from Arrow. FYI, I've got 3 and 4 coming for Christmas. And yet, the one company, the granddaddy of boutique film labels, has not released a Shaw title to date. Why is that? Right here's where I out myself as a massive Criterion fanboy. I love what they do. They were the first boutique film company I knew and collected from. And I think they're phenomenal, and they're still in the game, which shows not only longevity, but a good business sense on their part. And yet with all their resources, they have yet to tap into the Shaw Brothers film library. Is it because they don't care, or they don't find an interest in it, they don't think there's an audience for it? That's where we should probably delve into the rights a little bit. In 2000, Celestial Pictures bought the entire Shaw Brothers film library, over 700 titles spanning martial arts, wuxia, horror, exploitation, musicals, comedies, and dramas. Celestial has spent the last 20 plus years remastering these films, including many 2K and 4K scans. Celestial fully controls distribution rights, licensing for streaming, licensing for physical media, and restoration and preservation decisions. They are in charge. So Criterion would have to play ball with Celestial Pictures, and that's what obviously Vinegar Syndrome, 88 Films, the like have done. Now, according to sources, Celestial Pictures has been very open to licensing deals, because what good is a film library that just sits in a vault? Netflix. Celestial Pictures will still retain control of the restoration masters and will have to approve any special features, but they are willing to license almost anything. I would imagine everything out. That's why Arrow, 88 Films, Eureka, and the like, as well as a ton of digital platforms, have been able to secure massive chunks of the library. But here's the twist. This beautiful boutique Blu-ray boom has complicated things for Criterion. A lot of the signature flagship Shaw titles, the ones that people remember, the ones that people know, are already spoken for and under a long-term contract with these companies. This puts Criterion in a bit of a sticky wicket, because now they have a need to avoid overlap with 88 Films, Arrow, etc. But how does Criterion choose its titles? Criterion works very differently than Arrow and 88 Films. For example, Criterion prefers long-term evergreen titles, films with cross-cultural or artistic prestige, works supported by academic writing, commentary, essays, stuff like that, high-quality masters or new restorations that they can supervise. Arrow and 88 Films, while they do have single releases, love their massive box sets and, you know, volume-based releases, which there's no wrong way to release physical media, but both companies approach them very, very differently. Criterion does, of course, do massive box sets, and I'll bring that up in a moment, but if they were going to do Shaw Brothers, they would go prestige-oriented. Of course, this brings up a new wrinkle in the story. Criterion has a very high bar for restoration standards. Now, many Celestial restorations from the early 2000s were grain-reduced, teal-tinted, or digitally scrubbed. This is, of course, a problem for Criterion because they prefer film-like accurate scans. Now, the newer Celestial 4K restorations, which are often used by Arrow, are much better, but Criterion may still want access to the original negatives, oversight of the grading, additional cleanup and color correction, which is something you should want too, and they may get, but they may not. So Criterion may just be waiting to renegotiate for a new restoration, or they could be trying to find the right title to justify investing in a new 4K scan. However, there are plenty of roadblocks. And there's specifically 4 I'd like to discuss. Number 1 is the biggest one. It's one we've touched on before, and that's rights fragmentation. Right now, the Celestial Pictures Shaw Brothers library is split up. Number 2, Celestial Pictures knows the value of these movies, and they like to make money, obviously, and they prefer bulk deals. However, Criterion doesn't really deal normally in bulk titles. They pick up 1 or 2 films here and there, traditionally. So this part of the negotiation process is probably one of the things that's slowing things down. Number 3, there's a brand issue. Criterion focuses on auteur cinema, global film history, cinematic achievements from around the globe. They need bigger titles. They can't just put out random Karate Kid versus the Golden Chicken. I'm sure that's a movie. They would need heavy hitters like Come Drink With Me, a One-Armed Swordsman, 36 Chambers if it was available, which it is not. Criterion wouldn't release mid-tier films or exploitation titles. It just would not be on brand, especially because the whole cultural significance of it, I think, would sort of be missing the mark. Number 4, market saturation. We have a ton of Shaw Brothers titles out in the marketplace already. You're probably screaming at your screen right now or furiously typing down in the comments all about how you are sick and tired of Shaw Brothers releases in general from every label. And maybe that's a question that Criterion has tried to ask themselves. Is there still a gap to fill? Well, I do believe there is. Criterion isn't shying away from martial arts cinema at all. I mean, they released the King Hu films, the Bruce Lee box set, most recently the Jackie Chan films here in this lovely collection. So this speculation is not only possible, it's logical that Shaw Brothers would be a part of that design. So where do you even start? Can Criterion even crack the market? Here's the exciting part though. I think if Criterion does start to release Shaw Brothers films, that it would elevate the Shaw Brothers brand in a way that no other company can. I mean, I think Criterion certainly has much more of a factor than something like 88 Films, in my opinion. And I think in terms of how it's regarded in the larger cinematic landscape of physical media collectors. I'm not talking fanboy here. I'm talking in terms of branding. People know Criterion a little better than they know somebody like Eureka or 88 Films, which, I mean, they're UK-based companies, but you know what I mean. If you put Brad Pitt in your movie, it means a little something different than if you put John Pitt in your movie. John's a good actor, by the way. So what could a Criterion Shaw Brothers release look like? Well, let's discuss. Quick bit of story time. I love Criterion because they introduced me to one of my favorite films of all time. This is the first thing I bought through the Criterion. Obviously, this is the 4K, so this isn't the first thing I bought. The DVD of Seven Samurai was the first title I picked up. Not only did I fall in love with the film, but I fell in love with the label. They also put out the incredible Zatoichi box set, and in my eyes, they can never do any wrong, and it's clear that they love this genre. Asian cinema has a place in Criterion, and Shaw Brothers is such an integral part of Asian cinema that it just makes sense. So how would they go about it? Honestly, I think it would be one big 4K upgrade of a prestige title. But finding that title is, again, the tricky part. My favorite thing about a release like this is, like all these other boutique companies, they would go out of their way to provide some incredible supplemental materials, academic commentaries, essays, you name it. I think Criterion will dig deep to make this something very, very special, of course, depending on the film and the timing and how they approach it. So let's say they approach it as a single release. Come Drink With Me would have been my first choice for a 4K upgrade, but 88 Films already jumped on that. So I would suggest something like Clans of Intrigue or The Master Strikes Back. Do a double feature with a nice kind of 4K upgrade on those. I think that'd be a really nice place to start if they go with individual release. But what if they did a box set? I've mentioned the Zatoichi box set, so what if they did a Zatoichi type box set similar to the Arrow Shaw Scope collection here?
Nice.
Something on the birth of wuxia cinema or the horror titles. I mean, I know Arrow's doing volume 4 and it's going to be horror, adjacent titles for the Shaw collection there, but Criterion could absolutely do something along these lines and deliver something along the caliber of the Zatoichi box set. Criterion is also known for their big director's box sets, so what if they did something like this Fellini box set or the Ingmar Bergman box set, and they focused on specific Shaw Brothers directors like the La Carlung box set, or Cheng Che. These are well-known filmmakers who've done multiple Shaw Brothers films, and sort of collecting their works in one box set makes sense because some of those films aren't necessarily the most famous ones and may not be on anybody's radar. So compacting it into a sort of director-focused box set makes it already feel very, very Criterion. Now we should really talk about how this could change the whole physical media landscape, and not only that, but appreciation for Shaw Brothers in general. This is gonna times 10 the mainstream visibility for Shaw Brothers films, as well as academic legitimacy, more interest in renewing old Hong Kong films, potential for massive crossover audiences, which is one of my favorite things about Criterion, discovering a film that never would have been on my radar if it wasn't for them shining a spotlight on it. And then, of course, other labels will have to up their game if Criterion gets into the biz. You can't deny Criterion's influence on the boutique market and what they have done. I mean, I think there's no argument at all to be had over whether Criterion was the granddaddy. They started it, and they're still in the game, and having Shaw Brothers in their library makes the most sense. But will it ever happen, though? I think yes. I think it's 100% possible. I think it's probably something that's going to happen fairly soon. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I'm just speculating here. Of course, leave your comments down below. I'm curious what you think on this topic, because this is kind of where the fun begins. You know, I've started the conversation. Let's get the ball rolling in the comments down below. My feeling is you're going to get one prestige release, test it out, see how it works, and if it clicks, then we're gonna get most likely some kind of massive box set down the line. I honestly, I can see it now, and it's a beautiful thing. I'll be honest, I don't think all the Shaw films are winners chicken dinners, but I think in terms of a cinematic statement, cultural statement, they are important to have at least watched a handful of, and to have a few on your shelf. I think it just makes you a well-rounded film person. What also makes you a well-rounded film person is dropping a thumb on the video if you enjoyed the video, and if you're new here and you haven't hung out with me before, do consider subscribing so you and I can do it again.
It's payback time.
So that'll do, baby poo. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you think. What are your favorite Shaw Brothers movies that haven't received any kind of treatment or release? Let me know what you think, whether the Criterion should touch Shaw Brothers or just let it alone for the other boutique companies to handle. I do think it's coming to Criterion at some point, and I think some point soon. They're not going away anytime soon, so let's embrace it. That's my take on it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I hope we get to hang out again soon. You're a wonderful human being. I hope this video has found you well. Take care of yourself, and until we meet again, I've been your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos. I'll see you at the movies.